With the focus on Christmas parties, restrictions and resignations, you'd be forgiven for missing something else that happened in Parliament today. A vote on the overhaul, some would say the dismantling, of the whole architecture of claiming asylum in Britain.
Our bill will bring new comprehensive, firm but fair, a long-term plan which seeks to address the challenge of illegal migration head-on.
The government's controversial Nationality and Borders Bill passed its third reading in the Commons. The bill will now go to the House of Lords. The point, as far as the government is concerned, putting a stop to dangerous channel crossings, fixing a broken asylum system.
Thank you. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Unlock.
The bill as it stands has enormous implications for people like these, who we filmed in France. On the same day, at least 27 people drowned trying to cross the channel 2 weeks ago. If the bill becomes law, the fact that people arrive in Britain in this way, rather than using so-called legal routes, will adversely affect their claim for asylum. The bill will also give legal cover for Border Force to push back dinghies at sea. There's also a clause that would make it easier to revoke citizenship. As far as the UNHCR are concerned, the guardians of the Refugee Convention, the bill breaks international law.
It will prevent people from acquiring a status and to be able to move on with life in the UK, even if they are indeed found in need of international protection. And at the same time, it will get in the way of returning home the ones who may not be in need of international protection. You're essentially creating a huge queue to nowhere.
This is a detention camp on the island of Nauru in the Pacific. The Australian government moved about 2,000 asylum seekers to the island while their claims were being assessed. One of the main planks of today's bill could facilitate a version of this policy, so-called third country processing. This woman from Iran spent 6 years on Nauru and secretly filmed conditions there.
Every day was a lot of attempting suicide and self-harm between our friends. Yeah, just watching people suffering, including children and women, and watching our friends dying because of everything that I just mentioned.
The British government won't want a carbon copy of Nauru because it was a disaster. There are now just about 100 asylum seekers left there at enormous cost. Nick Martin is no bleeding heart. He's ex-Navy, then a doctor at the Nauru detention camp.
I think the cost per detainee on Nauru right now is about $3 million, so I don't know, almost £2 million a year per refugee just to hold them there. It's just a hideously expensive exercise. You could have taken all of these refugees and asylum seekers, given them a £1 million house in a glorious part of Sydney every year for the last 7 years, and that still would have been cheaper than what they paid right now.
Some polling suggests a degree of support for elements of this bill. The problem, though, with making Britain as unattractive as possible for people arriving in this way, if you're running away from a war, the bar for what's bearable may be very high indeed.